Good morning and welcome to Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook. I'm your host, Ed Nunez, along with our producer, Alden Iwani. Our very special guest today is West Las Vegas football coach Patrick Rodriguez. His number one ranked Dons will take on the third-ranked Las Vegas Robertson Cardinals this Saturday, high noon. And it coached the games at West Las Vegas, or where's
it's at Robertson.
Okay, it's at Robertson this Saturday at 12 noon. And the Cardinals, no introduction needed for the Cardinals. They run a fine program there. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, Coach, Don's ranked 7-2. A little bit of you lost to Portales and Dexter to start the season, started 1-2. And since then, the Dons have been on a pretty good roll here. You beat Santa Fe Indian, I believe, in your last game. So West Las Vegas, this is your first year as the head coach at West Las Vegas under the guidance of who I call the King of the North, Richard Tripp, a very good friend of mine and one of the best broadcasters in the state, no doubt, worked for ProView Networks for many years. Talk about the Dons' fortunes this year. They're doing well. It's a big game this Saturday. There'll be, you can't look at it and put all the eggs in one rivalry game, although the town is hyped up for it. It's going to be a great game, no doubt about it. The seeding and selection comes out Saturday. You've got other dogs to fight after that. But tell us a little bit about the turnaround here at West Las Vegas. This is only your first season.
We we've started with a lot of hard work. I mean, I really started with community service. I thought we needed some character building. And so that's all I know how to do. I feel like I've been working with youth a really long time, and I feel like character is the biggest points that they need in life. And so I started there. We really went after it. We did a lot of fundraising, not really so much fundraising. We literally did community service. And so I'd have them show up. We kind of start that way. And of course, early on, no one really believes in that, right? They're like, wait a minute, you should be working on football here. To me, there was a ton of talent on the field. I needed to reel it in and make sure we had good character. Football is the ultimate team sport. And so it's the only sport to me left. The 11 guys got to work together. And so I went that route, and it went great. We started showing up. We did some 7-on-7s. We kind of did a spring ball early, went into summer. It was awesome little adventure. They kept getting better and better, and kind of grew from there. So I think everything and all the success is attributed to the character building. And I work on grades weekly. I mean, I expect respect out of them, and I expect their hardest work, and it shows on the field. They play that way now. They're starting to carry themselves that way now. And so West Las Vegas has always been talented. I played here. This town is talented. Robertson's talented. We are talented. These kids that come out of here are amazing. And so I think just reeling them in and kind of building on that character has really been, it's what's caused our success. So I'm proud of that.
You know, it's important to know you were, you played in New Mexico Highlands. You coached there. You also coached at Las Vegas Robertson. You were part of 2 championships there. You were the head coach at Milwaukee. You talk about character building. Now, a lot of people, they try that, and some kids buy into it, and some don't. And I think the message is important. You want accountability in the classroom. You want accountability out the field. You talk about the fundraising. But I think a lot of those experiences that you had before you came to West Las Vegas definitely helped. Talk a little bit about that. I saw your resume. You played in New Mexico. You're norteño. No, there's no doubt about it. And believe me, look, that doesn't mean that nobody from the north can't coach there, but I get it. But in talking to Richard, I understand. They're going to look at that and say, "Wait, man, he's been at Milwaukee. He played in West Las Vegas. He's one of us. He's a norteño." So talk a little bit about that, because the build up to the character building and how the players accepted it, because some kids are a little bit different these days. They are. There's no doubt about it, right? Talk a little bit about what your plan was going in, because you mentioned the fundraising. You mentioned things off of the field, and then everything you mentioned on the field will take care of itself. It has. Talk a little bit about that.
And not so much fundraising. It was community service. Literally, we made no money on those. So when I took this job, I coached the senior and junior group in middle school. So when they were in middle school, I took it on. I wanted to help out and give back to the community a little bit. And so I came out, I coached them, and they were a great group of young men. We had the same success. Sorry about that. I never thought that I would ever took over this program. It was never my plan. It was never, it wasn't something I was looking for. When the opportunity arose and they needed to finish their little bit of guidance that I think I started early on, that's what I jumped in for. I really wanted to help them finish a little bit of a journey here. And so, yeah, I have some really good parents behind me. The character doesn't work all the way around. But when I took this job, my first meeting was with parents, and I said, I need your guys' support. I'm going to need to call you, and I'm going to need you to drop the hammer on these kids, and we're going to have to start this thing in the right direction. And they all did. Everybody got my back. They have really good parents. We have really good backing, and this community backs them. And so you're right. Not everybody would have bought into that, but it's something I stand for. And all the way down to cleaning the bathrooms, cleaning the locker room. You'll see me with a vacuum on my back. And so I work hard, and I try to show my hard work through that way, and it transfers to the field. And I've done it for years. I did it at Highlands. I did it at Robertson. When we won those championships, the first 2 state football championships in this town's history, as a matter of fact, it was through great character. Coach Roanhouse ran a great program, and we were never vicious with our kids. We never coached them that way. They were good kids. and I enjoyed it. And to this day, they're my friend. Lucas Sanchez is their offensive coordinator and a great coach. And Leroy was on that staff too. And so he was our state championship quarterback. And so those guys are my best friends. To this day, we did something together. And I called GZ. I called him when I first got the job, and I said, okay, what's the plan here? And he talked about that time. He said, we did that together. Do you remember? All of us did that together. And that was huge to me. He's a great man and not a selfish man and a great coach. And that meant the world to me that he would talk that way and still add my name in that whole thing. And so I wear that ring with pride. I wear it today. I wear it to school. My team always questions me, like, why do you wear it, coach? And I say, because it's not about where you are. It's about the group of men you worked with. It's about the group of boys you coach. I said, if I won one here, would you expect me to take it off if I went somewhere else to coach? And so they took that well, and I was proud of them for understanding what I meant by it. And so yes, it is a rivalry, and sometimes not an easy conversation, but a necessary one for sure.
You know what? Good point. Because Coach Gonzalez, I've had him on the show a couple of years ago, and they've been on top for a while. They're right. They've got some state championships there. You mentioned. I remember doing the game against Rio Doso for the state championship a couple of years ago. Exciting game. Went right down the last couple of seconds. It's a great atmosphere to watch a football game there. Now, it's got to mean something to you, though, because they've been on top for a while. West has had some success, pockets of success. Right now, and again, Coach, there's a lot of football left to be played. Saturday's game won't determine, it's a town rivalry. You want to win for sure. But there's other, there's still playing, playoffs and seeding and things to be decided. You definitely want to win Saturday if you can. But I got to say that's interesting to me about the ring thing because you are a part of that. In Robertson, you were, and maybe some of the kids at West, because you think about a rivalry, you're like right away the blood starts boiling about a rival. It does. Back in the day, I remember having rivals when I was at Highland, Albuquerque High, or Sandia. Right away, you get your dander up. So you have to explain that in a different way, and it can't be easy all the time. And I don't blame you for wearing that ring. You earned it. You were a part of it. Why wouldn't you? But again, the kids, at West, they're going to say, Coach, man, that's the red color, and they're going to look at that with. And you mentioned it. It's a rivalry, a healthy one. It's a healthy rivalry. It's football. We're not trying to hurt anybody, right? Both team fan bases are going to be very excited about Saturday. I can only imagine the build-up's probably going to be some great weather. The rallies outside the stadium, I can only imagine. It's going to be a great atmosphere, a beautiful fall day, right? For football. That's what we do in the fall, is play some football. So you got to walk in the tightrope, man. You do. And I don't blame you, though. You should wear that with pride, and you do. You started out beating Escalante, 27-0, a loss to Dexter, 2 losses in a row. We'll talk about that in a minute. Española Valley, you beat them. Wingate beat the Roo. A close game against St. Mike's. And Coach Fernandez does a heck of a job there, man. A 7-6 win against St. Mike's. Raton, you beat them 33-21, and then beating Santa Fe Indians. So the Dons have reeled off 6 in a row. 6 in a row. Talk a little bit about the success, and we'll do the second half of the show. We're going to talk about your offense and defense, but talk a little bit about the early schedule, because that one against St. Mike's, Coach Fernandez, what a wonderful coach he is. Talk a little bit about your success on this 6-game winning streak going into Saturday's game against the Cardinals.
So one game at a time. They've kind of bought into that system. We don't really see an opponent anymore. This team used to play very emotional. They battled, like you talk about, that intensity. And I've kind of toned it down to where now they just play football. And we've taught the game that way. And I feel like that's what Coach Fernandez has done. Like, I compliment those coaches. I'm glad to be in the district with them and be able to give them a game and play chess with that man. Like I was saying, it's a chess game to me. So that's all it's been. One game at a time, different situations, a lot of adversity. So that's our word around here. It seems like our team deals with adversity better than any team I've ever coached. They don't get rattled by it finally. Where before it used to be, I watched the film and there'd be banging on their helmets and this pout, or however you want to call it, on the field. We don't see it anymore. If we turn the ball over a ton at St. Mike's, and I never saw my team lay down. I never saw them cry about it. I never saw them they turned around, they put their pants on, and they went and played defense. And I was proud of them. Like I can remember a moment where Jonathan Gonzalez, he fumbles the ball. He's the guy that fumbled the ball. And he looks at me and he says, "Coach, we got this." And he gets back on the field and he turns around and he goes at the end. And I think we end up, that's the whole drive that ends up winning the game for us. But that's what they've kind of turned into. And yesterday's practice went the same way. They're playing for a district championship this weekend, and I complimented them. They've become, it's almost like a norm now. It's not that they're going for this championship. It's just they expect to, and they're going to expect to for years to come. We expect to stay where we're at. And so that's really been the journey. One game at a time, dealing with adversity, staying together, and believing is kind of how we talk on the field. So, yes, sir.
You know, we talk about changing culture, changing the football culture, expectations. Jerry Kill has done that at New Mexico State. He's done a great job of changing the culture there. And it sounds to me like you've done the same thing at West Las Vegas. We expect to win. We expect to succeed in the community and in the classroom. We expect that. And the message from whoever's delivering that makes a huge difference. If they see you in the locker room with the vacuum, things like that, they can't say, "Well, Coach, he's doing it. He's setting the example." I believe that makes a huge difference. Coach, we're going to take a break in the second half of the show. We're going to talk about your offense and your defense, some key players going into Saturday's game against number 1 ranked Dons against the number 3 Las Vegas Robertson Cardinals. No hype needed, baby. No hype needed at all. We'll be back after these messages on the Sports Desk.
Now King Mead could play there to receive it by Winham.
McConnell, Julian Lovato. And here's Carson McConnell taking the first shot of the game. It sails over the keeper. Second chance opportunity is in. And it's the freshman Nico Reyes.
Hatch looking, fires, and it's picked off. It's an interception. Volcano Vista gets the first turnover of the game as it's a pick for Thomas Pettis, the junior.
Rivera looking left. He's got a guy. Oh, one-handed snag. What a catch there.
Stosa is able to get that one from deep into the wall. Hessinger elevated and put that one right down.
Elijah Brady looks left.
And nothing but green in front. It's a pick six for Carter Spiegel. Touchdown, Chargers. He was trying to go to Cox Liggins and
Siebla blitz. It's to Villalobos, and Villalobos is breaking through. He's back through at the 20, the 10. Villalobos with another giant run. This one. Cougars trying to get this offense cooking. Noah Carroll on the design quarterback keeper. Noah Carroll exploding through. He's got Renfro trying to chase him down from below, but Noah Carroll will win the race.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks. That's live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook. Our very special guest today is West Las Vegas football coach Patrick Rodriguez. His number one ranked Dons will take on the third ranked Las Vegas Robertson Cardinals. High noon at Las Vegas Robertson this Saturday. And I'll tell you, Coach, when I say that, man, I get goosebumps. I wish I could be there because those are the kind of games you love to see. You know, I got something to a little quote here from the King of the North, my very good friend Richard Tripp, about you. He believes in the kid as an individual before he believes in the kid as a football player. He's been like that throughout. He's always believed in doing what's in the best interest of the kid and making sure the kid understands what his role is in life as well as on the field. And that's from your athletic director, Richard Tripp, who believes in what you're doing. And I can't think of a better man. There's some great photos of your team that you work for than Richard. Humility, humble, a true Norteño himself, right? Loves the North. That's why I call him the King of the North. So I can't think of a better guy to work for. You know, you've got I looked at your offensive statistics, and they're very interesting to me. You know, your quarterback averages 190 yards per game. Your rushing attack, 6.5 yards per carry, 190 carries, 1,243 yards. Jonathan Gonzalez has 420 of those, 6.5 a carry. Your receivers, you've got a guy averaging 20 yards a catch, 32 yards a catch, and 16 yards a catch. As a unit, 94 catches, 714 yards for an average of 18.2 yards per catch. That tells me something. A lot of chunk explosive plays. You're winning on first down. You're rarely behind the chains. I'm thinking, tell us a little bit about your offense.
So a lot of leftover from last year. So they had a nice quarterback. They had some things going for them. I loved what Coach Adrian did as far as offense. I think he was great at what he did. I didn't want to change it up too much. So I kind of wanted to stay close to what they knew instead of having to reteach everything and take a back step, right? So I'm a pro style guy. I mean, I've coached in some college games, and so I've seen some air raid. I've seen all that good stuff. I felt like hold on to what we've put in already, but in the end, the St. Mike's, the Robertsons, these Ruidosos, these guys that are in the state championship game all the time are pro style teams, and so running the ball is a big deal in this 3A division. So I kind of had to hold on to both. The Jonathan Gonzalez move was a move. I took the job. I went to a basketball game. I seen the young man was playing O-line when I got here. And
really?
Yes. And I saw him score 23 points in a basketball game. And I said, that kid's in the wrong position. And that comes from the college level, right? I coach college ball. Running backs in Northern New Mexico are fast and shifty. Where I come from, they're big, right? They're thick boys and they can run and they're athletic, but they're not those swifty ones. So it was an easy move for me. I moved him there. I started training him since the summer. And I got a couple of good ones. I had the returner, Ethan Tafoya, which I got to see. He's an amazing kid. I coached him since he was a kid. And then I got my son playing too. So, man, I got some kids that can run the ball. And so I have to stay true to what I do best. And CJ has an amazing arm. I mean, the kid can sling the ball. I've caught with him before, and you better put a pair of gloves on because he'll sting your hands. I mean, he really can whip it. And so putting them, just kind of mending it together, kind of finding Coach Udley's our offensive coordinator first year, and kind of training him and trying to get him in a direction of what he kind of wants to do has been my job, and it's been work. I've been working my butt off for sure offensively.
That's interesting about Jonathan Gonzalez, who also has 67 tackles on defense as a cornerback. Yes. You've got him on the offensive line, and then he's at running back. He's got 420 yards rushing. That's something that you must have noticed and seen just on the basketball court, right? You saw this is an athlete that scored 23 points in a basketball game. I don't know how he scored, if it was threes or twos or whatever, but that's an athlete for sure. Yes, so that's noticing talent. That's an eye for talent because he's making a huge difference offensively and defensively. He's got 67 tackles from a cornerback, and he was on the offensive line last year. That's very interesting, and some good coaching there and a good keen eye for what you saw and what you wanted. Talk a little bit more about your defense. You've got Cruz Martinez. He's got 43 tackles. Your defense has played pretty darn well too. Talk a little bit about what kind of defense you're running and a little bit about how the Dons have Lorenzo Sanchez, 35 tackles. Your unit has 11 sacks. So that means you're putting, again, both you mentioned a 53-man unit, and not 53 in high school, but you have to have both units playing well for the Dons to be 7-2 and going for the district championship. Talk a little bit about your defense. I'm sure that play off the offense. The offense has been very good. Talk a little bit about your defense.
So I coach wrestling here too, and so I coach powerlifting. It all comes in. So Cruz Martinez is a back-to-back state championship wrestler. My son is a wrestler. We have a ton of wrestlers. Francisco Villalobos.
Patrick Rodriguez Jr. is your son.
Yes, sir. Our nose is a wrestler. Our starting nose, our right end across from Jonathan's a wrestler. Wrestling's had a big impact on defense. I brought a defensive coordinator in that played here at West. Actually, my brother-in-law, and he lives and breathes it. I mean, I was at Highlands. We were looking for a linebacker coach, and I tried getting him on because he's that good. He's great at coaching linebackers. He's great at coaching defense, and he's been the biggest change. Defense is what we're standing on. When we start practice during the week, we're in defense. When we start coaches' meetings, we're in defense. Where before they were emphasizing offense a lot, we emphasize defense. And the reason is I've coached at Robertson, right? I've coached some championship teams, and defense is where championships are won. I don't care what kind of offense you can play. You better play defense, and you better stop. It does you no good to score 50 points and give up 52. It does you no good. So that's been the theory, and we stand on it. Defense takes over the practice, and we get our offensive reps in, and we work offense, but we work a lot of defense, and it's been beneficial to us. Like I said, that St. Michael's game, we're running the ball, we're doing a great job, but we had to play D multiple times, and that's when I really knew we had turned the corner. When my kids didn't shut down, and there wasn't this emphasis on defense. I mean, on offense, we had just our defense was ready to get back on the field, and there was this confidence that they were going to stop them. And that's when I knew we had finally reached where I wanted to. And honestly, I would have loved to be there probably a week out of 2 days, right? That's every coach's dream. That's my plan. Yeah, we didn't get there till St. Mike. We didn't really hit that gear till we got to that game. And that's the process of football. You have to go through the growing pains to grow the team. And that's football to me, right? That's the X's and O's we're talking about, not the character building. The character came first, and then the X's and O's. Now that's where we're at. So, yeah, the Portaleses and the Dexters, we weren't quite there yet, but we played ball with them teams, and I've talked to both those coaches, and we played ball. We played ball, and it went their way, and that's okay. We continue growing and continue getting better. If we'd be St. Mike's week against those teams, I think it might have been a different little ball game. So, but that's neither here nor there. We gotta keep playing. So, keep growing.
You mentioned wrestling, of course. Technique and rips, and that you're trying to do on the defensive line. There's a lot of different things that wrestling has helped, and I'm sure that's helped the defensive line. You got an all-state wrestler on the defensive line. That can only help. What's it going to take? Leroy Gonzalez, man. I mean, that guy, much respect, right? You mentioned that. You've got a lot of respect for him. His offense is multiple, right? He's got a great defense. He's a great coach. What's it going to take for the Dons? No, without revealing any, your game plan. We don't want you to do that. What's it going to take for the Dons to bring home that district championship on Saturday?
We have to the defense and offense. We have to do that right. So no matter what, we're gonna have to line up right. We're gonna have to match their numbers right. Do everything. We play chess. So that's the start of the board, right? How do you open up? That's you have to do that against this level. It's gonna come down to the special teams. It's gonna come down to field position. Those are the big things, right? Catching a ball, a wide open ball, stopping and tackling, and we always talk about bending and not breaking. Staying together as a team is going to be huge. So just doing what we've been doing, and that's really what I'm saying about the emotion and about everything that comes out of this town for this rivalry. They're not worried about us. I coached over there, and the number one thing and how we kind of got that team to win that state championship, that very first one, was to get over this rivalry and to have respect for the game of football and realize that it doesn't matter who's across from you. You put the pads on and you play the chess game. You play football. And if you can play that to a high level, you get to be on that field with those guys. And I'm just glad to do that. So I hope to give them a good match defensively and match what they do and break down my film correctly and do what coaches do. And then offensively, make those plays when we get an opportunity to make those plays. And then in the end, yeah, we're going to have to cover the field on punt. We're going to have to make sure we can punt the ball off without getting it blocked. We're going to have to hit our field goals. We're going to have to be able to cover a kickoff. And so make good decisions, right? No penalties, flags, all these things that come into the game. That's the level of football I want to play. So the offense and defense has nothing. We got to line up correctly schematically, and we got to be able to line up against them and play good football. And I think they expect that from us, and I hope to give them. I hope to create that game. That's what I want to create. That this game everybody's looking for, win or lose or draw. That's not what's important to me. As I turn on that film, I want to be able to say that that's what we get. We played good football, and all the way down to whatever. I've been in the RMAC championship and we lost by a play. We played great football and we lost by one play, but we could measure it, right? You could turn the film on and you can measure where you won or where you lost a game. As long as it's not this cluster that we don't know where we won or lost or how it happened, I'll be happy with it. So that's all I'm looking for.
I don't know when the last time the district championship was on the line when these two teams met. It might have been a while. But, again, the emotion of it, you have to breathe, right? Adrenaline. I've been in adrenaline-fueled games. You can't live on it, right? Adrenaline flowing like crazy. You think, wow, how could I not make those plays like that, like the one I just made? And it's got to settle down because you could die with adrenaline over us. So, you know what? We're excited for you. This Saturday at high noon versus Las Vegas Robertson Cardinals, the number one ranked Dons for the district championship. But again, playoff seeding Saturday night. ProView Networks will have that at 5:30 p.m. So, Coach Patrick Rodriguez, we sure appreciate you being our guest, and we wish you the best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
You bet. For producer Alden Iwani, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you next week on the Sports Desk.